wẹ̀, omi ló máa lò. If you want to wash, what are you going to? Tó o bá fẹ́ ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀, omi ló máa lò. If you want cook soup, what are you going to? Tóbi bá ń gbóná, omi lẹ̀rọ rẹ o. If your head is hot, what are you going to? Tọmọ bá ń dàgbà, omi ló máa lò. If your child dey grow, what are you going to? If water kill your child, what are you going to? No. Tóbi bá pamọ́ wẹ̀ o, omi náà ló máa lò. Kò sóhun tó lè ṣe kó o má lómi o. Nothing without water. Kò sóhun tó lè ṣe kó o má lómi o. Omi yóò lọ ta o. Omi yóò lọ ta o. If you fight up unless you wonder. I say water no get enemy. If you fight up unless you wonder. Omi yóò lọ ta o. At the talk of black man power. At the talk of black power, I say, water no get enemy. If you fight up unless you want die. I say water no get enemy.
Greetings, roll back. Greetings, everyone. Let's see, we're just getting set up here. And let's see. Yeah, that artist, he's an African Nigerian artist. Wow, he goes back to the 60s and the early 70s. His name is let me get his name. Is Fela Kuti. That's his name. So you can find him on YouTube. But yeah, he's an old school artist, and he's out of Nigeria. And so he was really known back in the early late 60s, early 70s. Okay. Get set up here. Getting set up. Now, let's see. Well, Rahubat. Greetings, everyone. Rahubat. Muisar. Okay, I see a question, T Tiger. I definitely will get to everyone's questions. I just want to get set up and to let's see. Well, really do our intro for everybody, right? For all those who are new, who will be watching these discussions on the recorded, and people who are new to our class. And as a reminder for you guys who've been here, I always, we always have to talk about who we are. I'm just looking for something right now, and if I can just find it. And then, okay, I can't find it. What I'm looking for, I'm not sure. through. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I'm still trying to find something for you guys. Let's see. Okay. All right. Nevertheless, let's get back here. Okay. Now for so great again. Greetings, Rahubat, for all those who do not know me, right? Who are new to our discussions. My name is Peti Sina Teptu Ra'e, and I've been a over a 30-year student teacher of the profound doctrine of the master teacher, known to us as Panabab Yananan, also known as Dr. Malachi Z.K. York, who has been teaching us our ancient culture we identify as Wu-Sabat, and we also call Wu-Nawat. And it's a culture that it stands for those who make decisions based on sound right reasoning, based on the principles of Ma'at, based on the wisdom of the Hutri. It is the culture of our ancestors. It was about being in harmony with natural nature. Today they call it animism, right? They talk about that culture was known as animism, that everything in existence is animated from a creative force. Everything in existence is animated from a created force, even inanimate objects. And so this was the basis of our culture. And the name we use is Wu Nawab or Wu Sabat. It just means sun culture. And we're going to actually get into that today. And so basically, the culture is about us getting back to how we make decisions based on natural nature, based on what we call making decisions based on sound, right, reasonability. And we argue that the reason why we feel this culture is so important for Black people in particular, and the world in general, is due to the fact that Black people as a whole are suffering around the world due to our decision-making skills. We've gotten away from our high levels of reasonability, and we started making decisions in the last 6,000 years till today that is not sound and does not reason out, and it is the cause of our suffering. Our suffering comes from our unsound decision-making abilities, and we argue that the only way to solve that problem is to get back to the culture that we used to live. And when we lived this culture, we were a great people. We ruled as a great people, and we had harmony, unlike we do today, where we're so divided as a people. So we teach that it's important to get back to this culture. And me being a student of the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z.K. York, who has dedicated his life over 50 years of teaching us this culture. And I'm just one of many students who've dedicated myself to do the same. And this is what our goal is. And so we do question and answer classes. Again, here on our channel at NoopooH.org, YouTube. And these question and answer classes are every Tuesday, right? And we go from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. So again, if you're watching us record it, join us on a Tuesday, and tell family and friends, right? As I tell everybody, I always tell everyone, family and friends, always give us a thumbs up and support and subscribe and spread the word is the main thing. Now, each week before we get started, we get started with our prayer system. So I want to move into our prayers that we go through. And the prayers is about our spiritual development. We as a people in our culture, one of the things we argue is that we as a people, we got away from our spiritual knowledge. And that is our spiritual knowledge is a big part of the reason of our challenges and our suffering. And so we're dedicated to re-educating our people spiritually. So we do prayer systems, we do meditation, we do chanting, we do concentration rituals, and it's just among a numerous of things to develop ourselves or re-educating ourselves spiritually. And so we go through our prayer systems every week. And for those, we do it in our language. It's very important when you're doing the prayer systems, you do it in our specific language. But for those who are not familiar with it, you can follow us. You know, we have the English translations, right? And so that's very important. And so we're gonna get started, right? Let's see. All right. Abdul Kalam Namasat Wabazun Amag Kasam Fa Pa Ut Panashad. Anuki Jawaf Pa Ashuk M Pa Ut. Wu Kala Ashuk Kawun Jawaf Naya. Anuki Kasaman M Pa Ut. Wu Pa Ut Kawun Kasaman M Naya. Anuki Wahu Ama Pa Ut. Wu Pa Ut Kawun Wahu Ama Naya. Nakuk Kador Naju Amag Kasaman M Pa Ut. Wu Khabub Amag Shikasan. Nakuk Kador Kawan Kalab Hafaf Nakuk Daya Jawaf Pa Ut. Ama Wasu Ama Dayani Kun Lake Baku Jawaf Pa Ut. Anuki Yabab Bina Fasni. Pa Ut Kawun Anuki. Pa Ut Kador Nakuk Kador. Pa Ut Amul Nakuk Amul. Lahehum Manahnun. Layahum Manahnun. Ahum after Karehum. Ahum after Karekum. Ahum after Karenun. Ahum after Jawaf Naya. Ahum after Nayawu Anuki Hum. Ye Ashuk Ree. Asmula Jaye Nun. Ye Notaro Afuknun. Anun after Karaukum. Ye Notaro Afuknun. Afuknun Afuknun. Ye Unotaro Nun. Anun. Atun. Atun. Amun. Namazo Wahu. Ye Mufaku. Yehu. Yehu. Ye Unataru. Yesaya. Yesaya. Ye Unataru. Yehika. Yehika. Ye Unataru. Antkum at the Pa Mufaku. Yehu. Yehu. Ye Unataru. Antkum at the Pa Mufaku. Wu anu at the Kharaukum. Wu antkum at the Yasanun. Yehu. Yehu. Ye Unataru. Akfush Muglas Nun. Atum Ra'e. Yehu. Yehu. Ye Unataru. Namazo Atu. Akfush Enhu. Ye Muktamu Akfutnun. Antkum Mana Yakala Duda Salafunun. Wu Yasaunun. Mana Yaka Sawura Pa Ba'a. Mana Yaka Kawunu Ka'u. Mana Yaka Ata Acha. Mana Yaka Kawunu Bashawu Damam. Ye Nataru Muktamu Nun. Akfush Muhtad Nun. Anhu Kawun Munzal Mana Pa Nataru. Akfush Anhu. Anhu Kawun Baba Yananan. Akfush Anhu. Anhu Kawun Atum Ra'e. Akfush Anhu. Anhu Kawun Khafush. Namazo Talu. Ye Nataru Salafunun. Akfutnun Mana Pa Mujwa'u. Akfutnun Mana Takuan. Ye Nataru Akfutnun. Mana Saya Khayara. Akfutnun Akfutnaya. Akfutnun Akfutnaya. Ye Nataru Nun. Namazo Rabu. Pa Tashun. Nakuk Talub Tashun Bi Pa Nataru. Mana Pa Layan Lawi Tananun. Kala Ranam Atni at the Lahab Panataru. Wu Kala Namaso Atni at the Lahab Kayat Yatun Layab Panataru. Pasawat Wu Patara. Panan Safa Kawun. Pasawat Wu Patara. Z Kawuna Nazula Lahab Entkun. Mana Sabat Wu-Sabat. Amah Hade Anun Wu Shafeun. Mana Salafukun Wu Dataru. Aju Layana Fasukun. Afuk Shana Kawunkun. Pa Sawat Wu Pa Tara. Pa Hade and Wu Pa Shafe. And Nun Tawa Ankun. Lahad Panan Shafe Wu Alaj. And Nun Tawa Ankun Lahad Tem Nasuinun. And Nun Tawa Ankun Lahad Ashukuma. Ankum at the Salafanun. And Nun at the Khara Ukum. And Nun Talub Nasakuma. And Nun Talub Nasakuma. And so Nun Sayim Nataro. And so Nun Salafanun. Anun at the Munwapu. Anun. Atun. Atun. Amun. Ye nataru nun, ye muftau, ye nataru, ye atum re'e, ye natar, ye nun, ye natar, ye nuntat, ye natar, ye ha, ye natar, ye hat tat, ye natar, ye kak, ye natar, ye kak tat, ye natar, ye mun, ye natar, ye muntat, ye natar, ye umfkembu ye nataru, ye atum, ye natar, ye shawah, ye natar, ye tafak, the tat, ye natar, ye sabab, ye natar, ye nat tat, ye natar, ye ashtat, ye natar, ye asar, ye natar, ye nabab tahatat, ye natar, ye satak, ye natar, ye harah, ye natar. Natar shalil pa meye, ye haptu, ye natar, ye naktat, ye natar, ye ha haratu, ye natar. Natar shalil pa nawar, ye nafatu, ye natar, ye mantu, ye natar, ye babti, ye natar, ye sachamtat, ye natar, ye hata harata, ye natar, ye baai bish, ye natar, ye fa, ye natar, ye basa, ye natar, ye imhatat, ye natar. Natar shalil pa hawe, ye enhu, ye natar, ye matat, ye natar, ye mahat, ye natar, ye khafre, ye natar, ye mishkanat, ye natar, ye radiatat, ye natar, ye kentimentiu, ye natar, ye hikaad, ye natar, ye natar, ye natar, ye maat, ye natar, ye renenta, ye natar, ye she, ye natar, ye sasha, ye natar, ye mafta, ye natar. Natar shalil pa taha, ye sabak, ye natar, ye nap, ye natar, ye khanum, ye natar, ye khanash, ye natar, ye fanun, ye natar, ye saye, ye natar, ye haktat, ye natar, ye amash, ye natar, ye sarabtu, ye natar, ye atum re, ye natar, ye dahutu, ye natar, ye fawrat, ye natar, ye sakata, ye natar, ye ha, ye natar, ye neheb ka'a, ye natar, ye sakar, ye natar, ye ba'a, ye natar, ye akar, ye natar, ye imharata, ye natar, ye wapawata, ye natar, ye sakhatapta, ye natar, ye merita sakata, ye natar, ye sayeta, ye natar, ye garata, ye natar, ye sa inu, ye natar, ye bahata, ye natar, ye khanamta, ye natar, ye manakta, ye natar, ye khamam, ye natar, ye mahatwi, ye natar, ye kabef sinan afaf, ye natar, ye da mata afaf, ye natar, ye merita, ye natar, ye nisa, ye natar, ye mdadata, ye natar, ye nakhakbata, ye natar, ye sakhata, ye natar, ye anakta, ye natar, ye the dad, ye natar, ye tum, ye natar, ye wahu, ye natar, ye yasas, ye natar, ye anaku, ye natar, ye afkun, ye natar, ye satat, ye natar, ye sakatu, ye natar, ye ma'at, ye natar, ye nana, ye natar, ye mnuet, ye natar, ye sataktu, ye natar, ye mukdalta, ye natar, ye rahashafaf, ye natar, ye maratu, ye natar, ye amun hurae, ye natar, Yehu Anu Ata Kaleh Jaweh Pa'at Nun Re'e Tun Re'e Tun Re'e Mun Re'e Ye Gen 4. Okay. For those who are new to our rituals, our prayers, our chants, as you can see, we go through the prayer system, and then after the prayer system, first of all, we do the Unctwi symbol when I do a circle right around the head, and that represents the smash circle of Nupu, right? And then we do the horizon cross, and we go down, and we do another cross, which represents the cycle of chaos. So you have the cycle of Nupa, which is a circle around the head. Then you have the horizon from east to west, and then you have that goes down, right? The cycle going down, and then you have the cycle of chaos that goes from west to east. And so that's the seal of the resurrected ones. That's the seal of the living. We do not do the cross, so I don't want anyone to confuse that. So that's why I try to explain it. The cross is a symbol of death, and the unctwi is a symbol of life. Then at the end of that, we do a meditated system, a chanting, and the chanting is about recalibration to recalibrate yourselves. Our ultimate goal is to reconnect our ultimate goal is to correct our morphic genetic residency. Our ultimate goal is to correct our morphic genetic residency, because our genes have been altered in the last 6,000 years, and it has cut us off from our spiritual insight. It has cut us off from our spiritual abilities. Our genetics is off, and you have to correct it. And rituals are the ways and that is designed to help you correct your genetics. Okay, and so that's very important for you guys to know that. Okay, so today's discussion is, now we're going to do question and answer from the last 4 weeks. Right, the last 4 weeks we did the series, the 9-ball series, explaining that series in detail, and then we talked about we was going to have question and answer classes about question and answer class in regards to that series, right? And to give explanations about what that series is all about, what the 9-ball really is, and what that teachings was trying to educate us about. Again, that's a series of books that the master teacher written over 50 years ago, or approximately 50 years ago from today. And it's very pertinent information. It was pertinent 50 years ago, and it's pertinent today. And so we try to kind of give people an update on explaining the significance of the information, and to give clarity, and to give some explanations, right? So let's see. Okay. I will address you guys' questions. I was just looking over some of the stuff you talked about, but let me get started. I just want to kind of give you guys I want to set up the class, right? I want to set up what we're going to talk about, and I got to give some explanations, right? So to kind of make it clear on what the 9-ball is, and then we can kind of go from there. Okay, so that's very important. Just as I should have did this in the beginning. Always actually is for everyone who hears me, press 1. Hopefully you guys all can hear me with no problem. So press 1. I just want to make sure the audio is okay. And so if you guys can press 1 that you guys can hear me. Wonderful. I see it. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, so let me get started. So now here I'm looking at a particular book that the master teacher had put out. And excuse me, let me see. This particular book is called Actual Facts, number 108. It's called The Proof by Panabab Yanun, right? So this is Actual Facts, number 108. And it's a book we put out a few years ago. I don't know, maybe 3 years ago, something like that. Okay, let's see. Very important concept. the birth of Tashash, or we say chaos. And he says here, in the beginning were the sons, and the sons were within Fraterial Fatar, which is natural nature, and the sons are natural nature. The sons, the true Chakabat, which is stars, are Panatharu, the overseers, who grew absolute natural nature from and of omniverse, which is all, into universe, which is the all. Okay, now let me get into before we get into that, we got to do our core principles, right? We try to do that every week, especially for newcomers who are watching us. And then we're going to get into our more details into our discussions today. So for our core principles of Wu-Sabat / Wu-Nawab is a shock, right? This is the core principles of what our culture is all about, which is dealing with the power of love, right? Tapping into the power of love, which is the creative force itself. 9 ether is a shock. And so we're obligated as children of 9 ether is to represent that energy, that creative force, right? And principle number 2 is resurrection. Is becoming goddesses and gods by opening your third eye, right? So our ancestors over 6,000 years ago, all of them had their third eye open. They were spiritually in tune with the omniverse. Now, our people today is only in tune, as I like to talk about and joke. We're in tune with Netflix and Snoop Dogg and LeBron James and Nicki Minaj, and the list goes on, right? We're in tune with all the wrong things instead of being in tune with nature itself. And so that's the cause of our suffering. But let's keep going. Principle number 3 is the wisdom of Dahutri and Ma'at. Dahutri stands for our divine mind, and Ma'at stands for order. Now, we've done discussions on these guys. I always tell everybody to watch our lectures more than once. And for new people, definitely watch these discussions we did on this subject matter. Principle number 4 is relationships, to live of, for, and by each other. As Africans, we always lived as communities, right? Our systems weren't based on capitalism as you see in the world today. So it's important to know that. And we did a discussion on that. So definitely check that out. Principle number 5 is morphic resonance / matrix. Your morphic resonance deals with sound, color, vibrations, frequencies. It is the energies that grow the universe itself and that creates matrices, which are the materials that manifest through nature, living materials, life forms, as well as inanimate material. And then you have number 6, soul and spirit. Your soul is your emotional force, and your spirit is your life force, right? And we did discussions on that. Principle number 7 is Leviathan equals moon culture, aka religion, aka Western culture. We did a discussion on that, so I highly recommend guys studying. Please, you must study this information. Principle number 8 is health. Health equals the positive mind, right? That's the first key to health is positive mind. Then there's sunlight. As melanated people, we need a lot of sunlight. Water, the body is 70% water. Fasting at least 1 to 2 times a week, right? Herbal diet, as Dr. Sabi talks about. Exercise, right? Rhythmic breathing. We have a book on breathing, which is the breath book. Meditation, concentration, prayer, and chanting. Health is physical and spiritual development. That is complete health, right? In this culture, they only teach you about physical things to make yourself healthy. They don't teach you nothing about the spiritual things that are necessary for health, okay? So this is important. And principle number 9 is Pa'ut, smack, and the smack, and ah. And Pa'ut is the creative force itself. That's the tone we identify with the creative force, okay? And the smack, the creative force or existence is based on the cycles of nature, and we call it the smack circle. And existence itself, the creation energy is called and it translates to ether, okay? And that's kind of what we've been talking about in our discussions, right? In the 9 ball, we've been explaining the smack circle in detail and about ether. Now, for those who are students of Wu-Sabat or choose to become a student of Wu-Sabat, you have 3 goals, right? The goals of students. Goal number 1 is to raise the self. Goal number 2 is to fight Leviathan. And goal number 3 is to work to build sabbatia, right? So now when we go back to goal number 1, we teach you must be born again, as Christians teach, by learning culture Wu-Sabat and live it. Okay, so it's giving up the old culture, Western culture, for a new culture, which is Wu-Sabat. And in that culture, one of the first things you do is you got to correct your name by choosing a Sabaean name and making it known to all. You must correct how you look and dress. That's very important. You must learn to speak Sabaean, right? What we call misbatia. You must study our doctrine every day. Very important. And you must practice and master our daily rituals. And you must always be positive. It's nothing going to get done unless you have a positive mind. Now, goal number 2 is fight Leviathan. This includes working to free Panabab Yunanin, right? The master teacher, because the disagreeable ones have captured him in their prison system. Promoting Wu-Sabat to all. This is another way we're fighting Leviathan. And become a student teacher and fight the 5 strongest weapons of Leviathan, which are lust, lies, deception, slander, and gossip. Leviathan feeds off of that. And these are the bad habits that our people have succumbed to. And they don't realize they're behaving like that because they're under the spell. And it's destroying us. And goal number 3 is to work to build sabbatia. We work to support each other in business. We help each other reach positive goals. We help to build our government. We must set up a landing zone for Panatharu in Africa, which means we need land in Africa that would be supported by an African government. It's very important. And Ashak is the key to accomplish all our goals. Okay. Now, what does it mean to be a Sabaean? A Sabaean is someone who is thoughtful and cares, someone who is helpful and honest, someone who is responsible and hardworking, someone who demands justice, someone who is righteous, someone who is positive and cheerful, someone who is loving and peaceful, someone who is clean, and someone who is kind and considerate. So that's very important, guys. Never forget these principles. This is what we live by. And a lot of these discussions, as you guys know, are based around these principles so that you guys become extremely familiar with living these principles, right? That's why I tell everybody, always watch our discussions, lectures more than once. Always read. The master said read the books at least 9 times. It's important, trust me. And we'll get into discussions on why that's so important, because it's about calibrating your genetics, right? Altering, you have to re-alter the Mukasu, right? AKA the Caucasian, has altered our genetics through his culture. And that's what took us out of harmony with nature and took us out of communication with our ancestors who exist on higher spiritual realms. He disconnected us. Okay, so you guys have to understand what is known as epigenetics. Epigenetics, which is a science that explains how your genetics can be altered through the environments and cultures that you live. Okay, so eventually we'll really get into that subject matter because it's extremely important. Understanding epigenetics and morphic resonance, something I talk about a lot. Now, to get started with this discussion, again, one of the things I want to go with is, what is the 9 ball? Now, like I said, we've been talking about the 9 ball for the last month. And what exactly is the 9 ball? So let me first explain that real quick and then go through some concepts. Now, let's see. The 9 ball are the sons of the omniverse, who are the growers and controllers within natural nature. So when we say the 9 ball, right, a ball is 360 degrees, correct? And when you add that up, 3 plus 6 plus 0 equals 9. And 9 is the highest number in existence. 9 to the 9th power, 9. And the sons of the multiverse or omniverse represents this 9 ether energy. Okay, so that's important, guys, to know. So that's why we call it the 9 ball, which are the sons of the omniverse, the growers and controllers within natural nature. Next is nature produces 9 ether sons who rule the realm of NoopooH and 6 ether sons who rule Zupu, right? So we talk about this a lot, guys, when we go to the smack circle. So you have the realm of Nupu, and then you have the realm of Zupu. In the realm of Nupu is dominated by 9 ether sun. And when you get into the realm of Zupu, as the cycles change, now the suns are emitting 6 ether energies. So 6 ether, which is Zupu, that's the suns are emitting that in that realm. Okay, so it's important for you guys to know that it alternates. These cycles are constantly alternating and shifting throughout absolute nature. Okay, so now the goal of all students of Wu-Sabat is to get from behind the 9 balls. The master teacher has taught us you have to get from behind the 9 ball so that you can earn our crown, so that we can earn our crown of life, aka our 720 degrees, we call it. All right, or 720 degrees of knowledge, which means your third eye is fully opened and you become a master of the realm of Nupu, which is 360 degrees, and the of knowledge, and the realm of Zupu, which is 360 degrees of knowledge, which gives you a total of 720 degrees of knowledge, like unto Panabadminanan. Okay, so the master teacher has always explained to us that he has 720 degrees of knowledge. And what does that mean? What that means is, as I go back over here, that means he had both knowledge of the realm of Nupu and the realm of Zupu. That's what that means. So if you go to this diagram, let me see if I can find it for you guys. Okay, here. Now, when you look at this particular diagram, right, the 720. Now, actually, if you add up the number 9 and you add these numbers up from 9 to 8, all the way around to 3, going back up to 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, it adds up to the number 72. Okay, so when you do the math, it adds up to 72. Now, the reason why we say 720 degrees, because understand this about the smack circle, it's broken up into time periods, right? So it takes 18 million years. It's 4 major cycles. So to go from 3 south to 6 east, that's 18 million years. 18 million, excuse me. Go from 6 east to 9 north, that takes 18 million years. And to go from 9 north to 6 west, that takes 18 million years. And to go from 6 west to 3 south, that takes 18 million years. And the total is 72 million years. Now, if you break that up into 100,000 years, 100,000 years represent a degree, and there's 72 of them. Okay, and that's where you get 720 degrees. So someone who says they have 720 degrees of knowledge, that means they have complete knowledge of all of these realms, all of these different cycles. And as a student of Wu-Sabat, this is what you're being initiated into. Okay, this is the goal of all students of Wu-Sabat. Now, I wanted to play a class. The master teacher talks about this. He talks about the goal of a student's getting their 720. Now, this was a discussion the master teacher did back in the 80s, right? Actually, no, 90, because I was actually in this particular class. I'm actually on this tape. If you listen to it, you'll hear me ask a question of the master teacher. But I'm going to just play the very beginning where he talks about us, and our goal as students is to regain our 720 degrees of knowledge. So I think that's important for you guys to hear. So I'm going to play that real quick.
Who keeps him informed as to what takes place in the universe and what took place in the universe. So I am not him as per se Michael. I am doing Michael's job. That's why it says, I send mine angel. The angel is the spiritual part that inspires the man, you see? It was necessary for Master Farad Muhammad to appear as a person in a physical form to inspire a physical man because they were living in a mystery world. Okay? Michael has come into me as a spiritual being and influences the way I feel and think and what I say. All this information I'm putting out here, I'm telling you, brother to brother, eye to eye, ear to ear, cheek to cheek. I could not do it myself. I'm amazed at some of the information that comes to me from this man, Michael. You know what I'm saying? He astonishes me. I have to go back sometime and read the books myself.
Okay, the master teacher is talking about his oversoul. The fact that he's become one with his oversoul, and this is why he knows what he knows. Okay. And his oversoul, we identify his oversoul as Yananan, right? So he's trying to explain that. Although in this class he's identifying him as the angel Michael or Melchizedek, but that's a whole nother discussion. But let me keep going.
Actually, quite like the way, let me go look it up because it's just not mine, and I'd be a fool to try to claim it. So Michael is moving through me to herald in the Messiah. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. The initial question that I asked was that in the heavens, when you speak about it in Revelation, there was a war in the heavens. And from reading the doctrine, I thought I understood that there was a war prior to Iblis being brought amongst the seraphim. And I was confused as to how could they rebel if will came with Adam? Was this prior to the advent of Adam when the cherubim rebelled? Or was it with the advent of Adam and him teaching will to Iblis?
It's who he rebelled to. You see, will is the right to make decisions. Half of 180 is 90. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So those angelic beings were making decisions, but none of their decisions was put before or questioning Allah's divinity or his purpose, because there was nothing in the heavens to question that. When Adam was promised into existence, which is in the book of the Suhuf, then they want to know, like, what is this kind of being? Prior to that, all they had was seraphims and cherubim.
Okay, guys, let me give you some context what he's talking about when he's talking about the angelic beings back then. He gives them the name of seraphim and cherubim. The seraphim represented the green light. These are beings who represent NoopooH, and the cherubim represent the red light or the amber light. And these were beings who represent Zupu. In today's culture, you guys will call them ETs. So he was talking about on this planet was ruled by ETs, and they would come from different schools of thought. Okay. And then he's talking about the creation of the Adamites. All right. Because the Adamites are creative beings. The human being were created on this planet. And he's explaining that, and he's trying to explain the knowledge that these Adamites had. So it's important, or humanity, let's go like that, humanity, and how we as Black people, we became associated with humanity or humans because we fell as seraphim. We used to be seraphim, Black people on the planet, and we became associated with humanity. But let's keep going.
Both of these were broken up into races like we are today. But there was no spiritual competition. There was no reason to question the divine or the divine's purpose. Man today on earth questions the divine's purpose. What am I doing here? Why am I here? Why did he create evil? Why did he do this? Why did he do that? That's how you know the war between good and evil is about to start again, because here's the man with 360 degrees trying to get back to his 720 degree nature, and he's starting to use his 360 degrees to question things in the spiritual realm when his 360 only covers him on the physical realm.
Okay, now see where the master is explaining. We as humanity only have 360 degrees of this dimension. Okay. So when you get your 720, like the master he was talking about, you're trying to get your 720, you become spiritually conscious and you become aware of the higher dimensions, the higher abodes, the realms that so-called ETs exist in. And this is the knowledge we lost. And this is the purpose of our whole doctrine of Wu-Sabat, to re-educate us back into those realms. And so you have to raise your intellect, which is the whole goal of what we're teaching. Raising your intellect. and learning to turn yourself inside out. And that's what we mean, come from behind the 9 ball. Because as right now we live as human beings, and humans may believe they have a spirit. But once you are resurrected, then you realize you are a spirit being incarnating into a human body. You're in tune with your higher self. You're at one, and you're operating as a spirit being, controlling your body, who are able to leave at will, like meaning you're able to go out of body. You can transform. You have many different abilities that we forgot. We lost because we lost our intellect. And that's what Wu-Sabat is all about, restoring your intellect. And so the 9 ball series is about re-educating you about existence, nature, or the nature of nature itself. That we lost that knowledge. And this is what this education is about. So our ultimate goal is to be like unto the master, to regain our 720. This is what I was trying to show you guys. Okay. And so that you can hear the master teacher himself explain that this is what his mission is, to educate us spiritually. So we become aware once again of these different dimensions, these different dimensional abodes. Okay. So that's important for you guys to know. Now, the next thing is, as Sabians, we acknowledge that we are children of the sun, by way of our 9 ether spirit forces known as soul, or what we call Ba, your Ba. And then I have referred to the actual facts, 108, back to the proof, and my brother, the ET. So let me go into those particular books real quick, so you guys can see that, because there's some information there you guys need to know, because we call ourselves Sabians, and what does that mean? So I want to kind of read this. It's in the book, the proof. This is Actual Facts 108, called The Proof by Panabab Yananan. And let's see what it says. We're going to start, let's see, at, this is paragraph 728, okay? So he goes on to say, so you have to stop. Let's see, make this bigger. So you have to stop believing them and investigate for yourself. You hear very little, if anything, about what the spiritual science of the ancients and sages of antiquity was before and prior to the advent of the history of Adam and Eve 6,000 Shemut years ago. The spiritual science of Sabiism of Punt, which is Arabia, down through evolution. Sabiism of the land, later called Saba, where the Gan or Adan, or enclosure of pleasure and delights, the Garden of Eden, which was in Arabia, and the enclosure what is now called Mecca, right? Paragraph 729. Now, they admit that Arabia was not always a desert. It was a fertile garden. In its Kabat center was a cube-shaped structure now called the Kaaba. Inside kept the Dayar Nawak, the meat stones of this Anunnaki, excuse me. Now, these meat stones, guys, they're like computer disks. In ancient times, the beings who were controlling this planet, they had very advanced technology. Okay, so let's keep going. Paragraph 730. The spiritual science was animism, respecting all living things all around. The Greeks called it pantheism, theos, all over you, right? Found in Muslims' Quran as Sabians. If you refer to the Quran, chapter 5, verse 69 and 22:17. Then it goes on paragraph 731. It was in this place where Eve dwelt, called Hawa in Hebrew and Arabic, and called Titi by the Anunnaki who made her. And she was in Arabia, while Adam in Hebrew called Adapa by the Anunnaki who made him, and he was in Africa until he moved eastward into the Garden of Eden, and both moved further eastward across the burning sands of Arabia in Aridu, or to Aridu in Kuwait. Now, the converts to Adamite religion have no real true knowledge of the Safa'at, the books they live by in Mosesism, Jesusism, and Mohammedanism, unproven stories. Now, the true story, guys, the Adam and Eve story is actually a true story, but you would have to, in order to get the actual facts about that story, you have to read the Sumerian tablets, because that's where the stories come from. So when you see it in the Bible, the master explained that the Bible stories were plagiarized from the Sumerian tablets. These stories about the true story of Adam and Eve. Excuse me. Now, Adam represented a tribe of people, and Eve represented a tribe of people. In fact, if you read Genesis chapter 5, it actually talks about Adam and Eve were a tribe. But let me keep going. Paragraph 733. Now, Sabiism is part of the science of ancient Egyptians called Noon. Sabiism is from Sabat, which means host of heavens, or Septu. Okay. It's the chambers of the south, or star system below Orion. If you refer to Job chapter 9, verse 9. It's called Sirius, also found in the Quran, chapter 53, verse 49 and 22:17. Now, Saba people kept Sajalat records of the movement of the Kakaat, the stars later called Ethiopians. Now, the Sabiism is and truly means true star worship, or admiration to the true stars, the heavenly hosts. If you refer to Genesis chapter 2, verse 2, for being the visible creators of the multiverse, bringing Nawar light to shine on earth. And these stars of the cosmos are the sons of the multiverse, and the one of this universe of fertile natural nature. In ancient Egypt, we wrote Cyrus or Soltis or Septat as, and this was the symbol we wrote for the star system in ancient Kemet. Okay, so it's trying to say we identified ourselves as Sabaeans, our ancestors, and it meant those who were in tune with the stars, or the 9 ball of natural nature. That's why I'm telling you this. Okay. That's what it means to be a Sabian, is one who is in harmony with the 9 ball, one who is in tune with the multiverse, the omniverse, the stars that grew the universe itself. That's what it means to be a Sabian. So anyone who asks you that, now you know. I hope that helps. Now, also, another book we talked about. This is important because this goes into more in detail. Why the 9 ball? What is that all about? Why do we call ourselves Sabaeans? Now you know why we call ourselves Sabaeans, which is those who are in tune with the stars of the omniverse. Okay, and let's go into another book where the master teacher goes into this question again. This book is called My Brother the Extraterrestrial. The master teacher, we probably put this book, I think, back in 2014 or something like that, or 13, when this book came out. Okay. Let's see. So it goes on here. Let's see. Question. We are all Kradu Shalau Ra'e, which means children of the sun. Answer. Yes, that is right. 9 ether sun produced the black race, the Nubians. Our blackness that the Kakasu tried to get by basking in the sun is temporary. They now spray our color on, use all kinds of skin toning to look like us. Yet the sun will kill them and many of our people because of mixing with them. Paragraph 19. Question. Why? So our blackness and woolly hair is a blessing? Answer. Yes. This is the actual fact. We have wabar, which is hair. All others have farar, which is fur, as other animals, beasts, yet we'll call it hair except on animals. Then it's fur. All you have to do is look and see they all have fur, not nappy, woolly, kinky hair as Nagaru, and many who mix with Nagaru. Yet, note why and how. You notice that newborn babies of most all races all are born with fur or no hair growth because their genes are at its weakest time. As they grow, they become stronger and their fur begins to curl from the digit 6 to the digit 9, from straight fur to nappy wabar hair. So the stronger the genes, the tighter the curl of the growth on the head because of mixing. Most people have thin growth on their bodies. He's talking about us as black people because we've been mixing in, guys. We losing our woolly hair, especially here in in the West, because we want pretty hair, and that means straight hair or whatever. And we lost it. See, we lost our science, But let's keep going. Most people have thin growth on their bodies. Let's see. Real strong gene people grow nappy hair on their bodies. Originally, Nagaru did not have any growth on their body. Just as you notice, real strong gene Nubans of Africa don't grow facial hair or body hair. After mixing, there was the need for antenna to attract more electricity to the body. Question. So hair is a form of an antenna? Answer. Yes. This is the actual fact. Yet, because of our black skin, we did not originally need to attract the sun's rays. It grew out of us. Our central solar plex, the blacks or negroids being the sun's original offspring as Atun Ray. A birther of others makes the sun feminine, or what we call feminine. Paragraph 21. Question. The sun is a female? Answer. Yes. A giver of life. She empowered negroids with the same powers that she has, the power to be black and produce black offspring. In other words, your skin is black because like all existence before any form of light or fire, you have blackness, darkness, dark material, dark energy, then the black hole, on to the Big Bang, one of many. Why in their Bible, they say in Genesis chapter 1, verse 3, their God, which they call Elohim or gods, first said, let there be light. The Big Bang out of darkness. So what state was he in first? Darkness. So dark is not evil at all. Evil came with light or chaos. Where did their Lord Yahweh or Jah dwell? If you refer to 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 12, and Chronicles chapter 6, verse 1. So darkness, dark, blackness, black is not evil or wicked. Another adverse deception by white or light people. Question. So all that dark is evil in the Bible and Quran is adverse forces at work on our minds? Answer. Yes, this is an actual fact. 6 minds working to reverse 9 minds. The sun we Nagaru have in our reproductive system is our solar system. Our central sun in our solar plex and in your marrow of your bones is what is called sun heat genes, supreme Adam in Arabic or Adim. They say supreme. When you look it up, you see its root, which is bone, where warm blood is born or created. Paragraph 23. Question. What are sun heat genes? Answer. These sun heat genes in us become part of the blood and they emanate outward to the skin, and your sun heat genes burn the skin black. Even boiled if you're cut, such as a keloid that only Nagaru get, an outgrowth, as negroids heal their skins, as in ancient times able to regrow limbs and even shapeshift to grow wings in order to fly, as you see on ancient Khmer Egyptian records. Paragraph 24. Question. So that is why negroids only keloid? Answer. Yes. That is why, and there is much more to do. There's much more to it, excuse me. Why our Salau race used to cut into the skin tribal scars, and so much that has been forgotten with the spell of hypnotic amnesia cast upon our race 6,000 years ago by Lawi Tenanu, or Leviathan, or Kingu. Paragraph 25, question. So all this from sun heat genes? Answer. Sun heat genes burn the skin black from green as we rust, in color from inside out, transformed from green to brown. The more sun heat genes one has, the blacker that person will be. Now, guys, I told you before, sun heat genes is just your melanin, guys. So that's important to know that. Paragraph 26. Question. So the blacker the person, the stronger their genes. Answer. Yes, that is the actual fact. The blacker the person, or being black, is being superior, or pa nawat mukwenu, the supreme beings. Paragraph 27. Question. The sun is male or female? Answer. The sun is female and produces a daughter, Earth, and sun as twins. Like in ancient Hammam, Egypt, Natat or Nut, and Gabab, Geb or Natat, Nuttat. Nut, breathe, air, Greek or invisible mixture of gases surrounding the earth, as sky, and Geb, earth or solid. So the male is grown out of the female as this planet was grown out of the sun. It's all etheric. Question, paragraph 28, question. The sun gives off ether, right? Answer, yes. This is the actual fact. The sun gives off ether, and they play with that word such as Esther, Greek for star, or star, Old English for stara, any luminous celestial object, astral. You see it used as an Anna, also called Ishtar, or Esther, or Astare, the daughter of Nanar and Ningal. Nanar, son of Enlil and Ninlil. Enlil was the son of Anu. These are the Anunnaki from Nibiru. They all led back to ether, as used in Greek, Ethenian, which means to burn. You see sun heat gene. So mother deities give off heat in her womb, ether in the womb, in the form of what is called permanence. Why they can see a child in the womb, it glows as it grows. Paragraph 29. Question. So the sun and its rays of heat is ether? Answer, yes. The sun has antenna called granulation and negroid outgrowth of 9 ether here in the shape of the digit 9. Woolly here looks like that granulation, or to form into a grain or granulus. So woolly hair may correctly be called granulated hair, curly hair, kinky hair, nappy hair, 9 ether hair. If you put thin flank fur, wrongly called straight hair, closer and closer to a fire, that strand of fur will granulate. That is, ball up because of the potency of the heat. Paragraph 30. Question. So negroids carry the sun inside? Answer, yes. Nagaru do carry his and her sun within and appear on Earth, planet Earth, at a time when no other race could survive in the Taha on Earth atmosphere, because just after creation, this atmosphere was too dense and much too potent for the weakness of humanoids or mankind. You see, mankind is all people with straight fur, and animals are all creatures with straight fur. Yes, they are related by nature. Now, negroids became identified with mankind down through evolution. Man or man's kind, man's kindred, a kind of man. Now, the Fahites and the Besites mixed with others. Yet, I know you already asked that and received the answers, so you can look back. Now, guys, I want to make a point here that he's saying that he says that says that the Nagato do carry his or her son within and appeared on Earth at a time when no other race could survive on the Taha, which is Earth atmosphere. Now he's talking about the realm of Nupu. For those who do not know, he's talking about the realm of Nupu. In the realm of Nupu, only Nagato can exist on the planet. In that cycle, only the Nagato can exist on the planet in this cycle, the cycle of Nupu. All straight hair people and animals like that do not come on the planet until 6 West, which is the beginning of the realm of Zupu. That's when 6 ether energies hit the planet. It's a weaker energy. Excuse me. Okay, so that's important for you guys to know that. Okay, so let's keep going. Question. So other races can't live on Earth as us? Answer, yes, that is the actual fact. Even today, most people who are aliens from outside of Africa can't live there. Nature will kill them, the sun or the waters. You have to adjust to the environment or die. It is the sun heat genes in those who had to live in the Earth's original atmosphere who had to be much stronger than those of man's kind who came much later. Hey guys, just so you know, on that point about people living in Africa, this is one of the reasons why the Mukasu couldn't fully colonize Africa. If you research them in the 1800s when they were trying to take over the continent, a lot of them were dying. They literally were dying because they couldn't live in the interiors and the areas, which that's why they was able to take over South Africa. Because if you know anything about South Africa, it actually gets cold out there. It literally gets cold in South Africa. Look it up. That was the only place they was able to live. But a lot of them, if you research, they were dying. They couldn't live on a continent, guys. So that's important to know. So let's keep going. It is the sun heat genes in those who had to live in Earth's original atmosphere who had to be much stronger than those of mankind's who came much later. In other words, the sun heat genes in the Africans were so dense and potent in your bone marrow and reproductive system, which is why you have more children or offspring than others of mankind. It curled your outgrowth called hair to nines, kinky as fire does to straight thin strand of fur. So in fact, sis, nappy hair, black skin, Africans are superior to straight fur, white skin, Europeans, just as the suns, stars are sons of suns, are superior to other universal bodies. This assures the Africans that we are the original or first on the planet, thereby the original personification of the suns. Question, paragraph 32, question. So that is fact and that is proven by science, right? Answer, yes. I reiterate, the only people who could survive on the planet Earth, original dense and hot atmosphere just after a fiery creation, were those who had the sun heat genes called 9 ether. Why they write Femi 9. The sun is 9 and 9 is the ball, right? Now, guys, original creation was about 5.4 billion years ago on the planet. And that's when we incarnated about over 5 billion years ago. But let's keep going. Paragraph 33, question. So this is what is meant by behind the 9 ball? Answer, yes, this is the actual fact. Sun-like persons in ancient times, the Africans, called Fahites and Besites, the original little people, and worship as the personification of the original creators. The Fahites and Besites are from the sun, and you are from them. And this means you bigger Nubuns are the sun too. You are evolutionary Fahites and Besites. And mother sun, moon, and stars birth sister earth, who birthed sons and gave birth to your Salafu, your ancestors. The Africans from the source of the Nile River were impregnated by 9 ether rays from the Kale Mukwamat, the omniverses, Kather Mukwamat, the multiverses. The eggs of earth in the source of the water, now impregnated by 9 mind or 9 power. Okay, so now I wanted to go over that, guys. I want you guys to see that. And for those who don't know, that information is in the book that we put out called My Brother, the Extraterrestrial. Very powerful book, very important book, as you guys can see. And it's dealing with the 9-ball information and giving some details about our origins, what the 9-ball is. The 9-ball are the suns. Okay, so I just want you guys to be very clear on what we say the 9-ball is. Now, in regards to any questions you guys have in particular, before I go on to anything else, let's talk about it. Let's see. Let me go back up because a lot was said. Okay. Let's see. The first question that I see is from T Tiger. And let's see. Question: how do we navigate the underworld when we die? What is our soul seeking next to be 9-ether spirit? Okay, we put a book out that I highly recommend you search or get. Is this was a book, The Spiritual You After the Physical You Die. It's a book we put out called The Spiritual You After the Physical You Die. And that particular book deals with that particular question in detail. And you know, that can kind of get, let's see if I have it listed here. I want to see. Okay, so this book here is The Master Secrets, number 19. The Master Secrets, number 19, called The Spiritual You After the Physical You Die. So this is for T Tiger. I highly recommend getting that book because that book actually goes into that. That book, and there's another book we put out that also deals with that subject matter. Once someone transitions, what happens to their spirit and soul? Now, just to be real quick on the subject, the ultimate goal is to restore your soul. To restore your soul, become one with your soul. So when your physical body die, you want your spirit and your soul to connect as one, and that your soul is the energy or the life force that is able to transport you from this dimension to a higher dimension. Okay. So when people say they lose their soul or they lost their soul, it's because you lost that energy part of you. Because most people who don't even know that they have a soul, they do nothing spiritually to develop their soul. So when they physically die, their spiritual part of them is very weak, and they either reincarnate or they become a disembodied spirit where they're not even strong enough to spiritually reincarnate, and they get stuck on this realm and they become ghosts. Okay. And so in order to make sure you don't lose your soul, you develop yourself spiritually and mentally so that when you physically die, you're able to make connection with your ancestors who exist, because they're trying to contact you. But because we're so spiritually weak and we're stuck in religions, our minds don't connect us to our ancestors. And so we get disconnected. And that's why so many of our people are reincarnating, because they don't know. They don't know that there's a series of rituals you have to do. And you have to be in a certain state of consciousness to make contact. But if you're calling on Jesus and you're calling on Allah and you're calling on all these other spirit forces of other people's religions, that disconnects us. Okay. So I hope that helps. So definitely get that book. Let's see. Let's see. Shimbala and Agata. Question: greetings, Zamal. I appreciate your work and time as a Sabian. Let's see. It is mandatory that one's mate has to be a Sabian also. Yes. If you have a partner, okay, if you have a partner, male or female partner, like if you're a female, you have a male partner, and if you're a male and you have a female partner, right, then it is very important that your partner is a Sabian, okay, because once you take on a mate, okay, you guys, as they say in Christian religion, you become one, right? When you marry, now you do, and that's actually a true statement genetically. Meaning your morphic energy becomes connected with their morphic energy. So if they're vibrating on a very low frequency, they'll bind you here, okay? They'll lock you to this dimension, and you won't be able to make the transition upward. So you don't get with a partner, a mate that is, living a different culture, because they're not going to do the things spiritually and develop themselves spiritually, so that when you transition into the next abode, you are able to move up as well as they're able to move up. So that's extremely important to know that. Okay, so I hope that helps. Let's see. Back question with spiritual family. Back. Lean. Back. Got it. Okay. Unique 999 has a question. Let's see. Can you go into how scapegoating allows for the ghost people to avoid ma'at, trying to conceptualize how it can be passed on to others, or is it just delayed? Yeah, no one escapes ma'at. So what they've been able to do, see, we're in a dimension where the energies are very weak. And so for the last 6,000 years, that's why disagreeable forces were able to get away with what they've been doing without the ma'at taking effect, like justice, right? And that's because we were in a cycle of weakness, the moon cycle. And what the Mukasu, remember, everything in nature works on opposites. So pain must be offset by pleasure, and pleasure must be offset by pain. And so what happens when the Mukasu has too much pleasure, he has to offset that with pain, and he transfers that pain to us. And they do it, like, for instance, one of the ways they did it to us right now is through the COVID, right? Meaning that now they're receiving the pain of COVID, getting all of these, this illness, these illnesses, right? So what they're able to do in trying to fix that and come up with a vaccines or whatever cures or whatever hospitalizations, white people are able to take advantage of medical healthcare practices more quicker than blacks, because they have the money and the research to do so. They control the medical field. And so we're the ones who suffer the most, because we have the worst diets, we live in the worst neighborhoods, we have the worst breathing conditions, the worst everything, and so white people are able to take advantage of things a lot better than us, and we're like the fall guy for them, so we're like the scapegoat. And that's kind of how they operate. So they set up a system that anything that bad happens, it happens to us worse than it happens to them. Like Katrina. When the Katrina happened, right? The white people who lived in Louisiana, they were able to take better advantage and better rescues than blacks. Man, in fact, they quarantined blacks, I think, in that football stadium. And we were suffering. A lot of our people died because of what? Bad economic scenarios. So they're able to transfer the downs in society to us. We get the worst jobs. We have the least amount of money, and so they're able to have all the fun and pleasure while we're suffering. That is only happening because of the simple fact we're still mental slaves to them. And we haven't come to the mental realization to develop our own systems without them. So they wouldn't be able to transfer all of the bad stuff on us. Meaning, if we were living in our separate societies and they were living in their separate society, when they do bad, or when something happens, if they're so worried about pleasure, when the laws of nature kicks in and the opposites kick in of pain, they're gonna receive that. But now they're able to transfer a lot of that onto us because we're under their systems. So I hope that helps. But that does get into a very involved, discussion. Let's see. Eat him off. Question: why some of the books were updated and some expressions were replaced, such as king and queen, etc.? Why master teacher decided to change? Okay, that was a question I had answered earlier. And like I said, okay, here's the thing. What's the best way to explain that? If you study anything about our organization, before we really could teach Wu-Sabat and what I'm teaching you guys now about the SMAT circle, and because this information the master teacher was trying to teach it way back in the 60s, but he realized the people were too religious and they weren't ready for sun knowledge, nine knowledge, the nine ball knowledge. They weren't ready for it. So people weren't receptive to the information. So he basically had to teach a doctrine that people were receptive to. And so we created the Nubian Islamic Hebrew Mission / Ansar Allah community. And that started in 1970 or 1973 to be exact, where he just started to teach Islam. Right. And so he basically, rather than teaching nature knowledge, the Wu-Nawap at that time, he did try, but the people weren't ready for it. And so he had to give a doctrine, which is when we called ourselves Ansar Allah, and we identified ourselves as Muslim, but not the Pale Arab type of Muslim. We would consider ourselves African Muslims or Tahite Muslims, to be exact. Like this gets complicated. It really does. And it can get confusing. You have to study the history of our organization and how the master teacher has been teaching. Point being is there's certain knowledge people aren't ready for at certain times. And it takes time in order to gradually teach people over a span of time, I should say. So at one time we called ourselves one thing, and then we updated or changed those names. Like we used to say Nawapian, right? Now we say Sabian. Those are changes. Okay. And so those changes become necessary as the people grow in intellect. He's able to teach. I hope that helps, but it's going to take you some more time to understand our methodology. I think that's the best I can say. Let's see. Do anyone know the title of the name book that's on Scribes? That's coming from Akeem. I don't think I sent somebody the name book. I think maybe I did. The name book is called The Egyptian Names. That's the book itself, The Egyptian Names. Okay, this is for Akeem, who asked a question about the name book. But it's called The Egyptian Names. I don't have it. I got to put it on my system. I don't have it so you guys can actually see it. I don't know if I could put it on camera where you might be able to see it. But this is the book, The Egyptian Name Book. Okay. Egyptian Name Book. And it's on Scribes. It's definitely on Scribes. Okay. If you have a hard time, you guys can send me an email and I can send you the link to the actual book if you're having a hard time finding it, So I have no problem doing that. Okay. Eat him off. Question. Let's see. in the past lessons, you have mentioned about lucid dreams and out of body experiences. Based on some research I have made, I have also found the paralysis dreams is the connect with spirituality. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're asking there. Okay, question. How the Caucasian people can be scientific experience and descendant of the Indian albino at the same time? Oh, how can they be scientific experiments and be descendant of the albino at the same time? What is the real origin of them? It's both, guys. It's both. That's a very complex story. We have put books out explaining those stories about their origin. Yes, they are the albino children of the Hindu. They are the albino children of the Hindus, but they also are a genetic experiment as well. They also a genetic experiment. Now that's a class all to itself trying to explain that. Just so you know, we put a book out that you guys should get. Let's see if I can find that book. But that's a good question. That's a real good question. Okay, so this book right here, it's called Hakehu, which means his story. We go into that in this particular book, right? About their origins, okay? About them being a genetic experiment as much as them being albino children, you know. And this is just one of many books because that's a very extensive story. It really is, okay? And trying to explain their origins. Because there are many things that was going on this planet. Let me just say that there are many things that was going on this planet, dealing with the Mukasu, and so, yeah, I don't know if I want to go further than that. But there was these experiments wasn't with the Hindus. Excuse me, the experiment stuff wasn't what the Mukasu was actually with the Hindus, messing with their genetics. You know. That's really what the experiment was dealing with the Hindus. And their overlords, the Hindus had the DNA of the Mukasu's overlords, of the beings from Aldebaran and the Pleiades. They had their DNA. Actually, we're gonna do a discussion on that about the origin of the Mukasu. And but they understand this. If you research the Mukasu, they'll tell you that their origins are from these ETs called the Aldebarans and the Pleiadians. And they'll also tell you that they're descendants of the Hindus. They'll tell you both. Okay. If you research them, that's why they use the swastika. Okay. And the swastika is a Hindu symbol, right? And they call themselves the Aryans. The Aryans, that's a Hindu terminology. The Hindus are Aryans, right? But they call themselves Aryans. And anyone who know their language know that the European language is Indo-European. So they do have a Hindu origin as well as, how can I say, the spirit forces in them is from these ETs. Their physical body genetics come from the Hindus. So I'll leave it at that. But you guys would have to get that book that kind of goes into that. But that's a good question. It's a good question. Some of these questions that it takes a lot more to answer because it does get very involved trying to explain that, especially those stories. I would refer you guys to start reading and reading the information. That way you can ask a specific question from the book itself. Okay, and that'll help you better. It really will. Okay, T Tiger question. Now, see, I watched one of your videos and it said only the master teacher can give us a Sabaean name. So I'm guessing that's not so much the case. No, the master, no. No. You can take on a name. The master teacher gives you a Sabian name that's specific to your tone, your frequency. Only he knows how to do that. But you can choose a Sabian name for yourself, and the way you choose it is different the way he would choose it. Okay. So meaning if he actually gave you a name, it'll be based on your tones, your morphic tones. When you choose a name, you're going to choose a name based on your personality, something you are or something you want to live up to be. So there's a difference. Okay. So I hope that helps. Let's see. Joseph Franklin. Is there a question? You have some Caucasians that came about through natural nature, and then you have some. Okay. That's what's up. He's trying to answer this question. Let's see. T-Tiger question. Why can't we just connect to our oversoul? T-Tiger asks, why can't we just connect to your oversoul? Simple, because your morphic resonance is off. Now I haven't taught you guys yet about your morphic resonance or your morphic genetic field. You guys have to understand that everything in nature is based on vibrations and frequencies and tones. The whole planet is vibrating on a Caucasian frequency and tone. And when you're out of sync, when your physical body and your genetics are out of sync with your spiritual body, which is connected to your oversoul. And so that's why you can't make contact with your higher self, because your physical body is out of alignment with your spiritual body. Your physical body is out of alignment with your spiritual body, and you have to realign it. And when you live a foreign culture, it takes you out of alignment. That's why we never would live a foreign culture. Guys, research the ancient Egyptians, your ancestors in Kemet. They would never take on a foreign culture. Never, ever. That's why when the Mukaso enslaved us, he had to force us to change into his culture. You know, to create the Negro today, it took generations to create us. Where we love him, we look like him, we dress like him, we talk like him, we want to marry him, we want to do everything like the Mukaso. That took years to get us to this condition. And by changing us into the Negro that we are today, it completely altered our genetics. That's why you have to study epigenetics. It altered our genetics, which altered our frequency, our tones, and it literally disconnects you from your higher spiritual self. And so you have the way you correct it is through the culture. First thing is changing the language. So taking a name, right? One of the biggest things is having a European name. Any foreign name that connects you. Names, guys, names are tones. Remember, names are tones, frequencies, vibrations. It connects you with foreign spirit forces. When you use a foreign name, it connects you with foreign spirit forces that possess you, that influence you. That's why so many of our people, they love the Mukasu culture, because they're connected to his spirit forces. Okay, and that's why we can't break away from them. That's one of the first things. You have to re-educate yourself spiritually to realize what they're doing to us. It gets deep, guys. Let's see. T-Tiger question. But in order to regain a 720 knowledge, our physical body must die, right? Otherwise, we must reincarnate over and over and over. No, wrong. T-Tiger, no. We're not Christians. You do not have to die in order to resurrect. You resurrect while you are alive. That's the last thing you want to do is die, because then you're taking a chance whether or not you're going to resurrect or not. That's why the whole goal is to develop your 720 now. Through the rituals, you restore your divine mind. You correct your genetics. And that's through proper diet. All of the things I guys tell you to do. Right. And I say this every time I do the principles, right? This is why I go over the principles. Okay. And principle number 8, health, positive mind, sunlight. Your body needs to be flooded with sunlight. Okay. Because the sun, the melanin in our DNA, it harnesses sun energy and it repairs our genetics. That's why the Mukaso tries to keep us out of the sun as much as he can. And then he feeds us poison food that alters your genetics. So these are the things, like if you fast for 30 to 40 days, you'll actually literally repair a lot of your genetics. 30 to 40 day fast, like just water, you'll repair your genetics, literally. And if you're doing the rituals, okay? But all of these things are necessary. Rhythmic breathing, meditation, concentration, prayer, chanting. You have to get your physical body, your genetics in harmony with your spiritual body. That's the goal. And that is how you'll make contact with your oversoul. You'll connect. You have to get your physical body in alignment, in harmony with your spiritual body. European culture literally disconnects the physical body from the spirit body. And that's why our people are so chaotic. And that's why it's easy for us to be possessed by spirit forces, because we're not in control of our physical body. Okay. And when your ancestors who were in their divine mind, they understood that they were spirits controlling their body. So they had, they was able to block any kind of possessions. Because we're spiritually ignorant, we're being possessed all day, every day, literally. So I hope that helps. There's a book I always tell everybody to get, the 30 spirits. It's called 30 spirits. This book right here. Let's see if it comes up. This book right here, and it talks about that. Getting ready to overcome the spirit forces. Once you can do that, then you can correct your genes, right? Because it's the spirits in us, the negative spirits that gives us, keeps us living, this European culture. So I hope that helps. Let's see. Let's see, Joseph Franklin. Are we always connect? Okay. Joseph Franklin, are we always connected? The awareness of the connection must be increased. Yes, you're always connected to your ancestors. They're literally trying to communicate with us all the time, right? They're constantly trying to communicate, but because we're so caught up in European culture, we don't pay it no mind. We're too busy watching TV, eating, going out to eat, going bowling, playing hockey, playing basketball. The Mukasu keeps us completely busy all the time, going to parties, going to the bar, going to the club. That's why he always wants us doing drugs, because drugs literally disconnects you mentally. And so when you're intoxicated, whether through alcohol or some kind of drug or something like that, you can't make mental contact because your mind has to be clear. And so that's why he promotes lust and drug use in this society. It disconnects you spiritually, and it's easy to be possessed. That's why most people who go to clubs are possessed, literally. And you got some people who know it, like a lot of musicians who get into like music, like the music we play. Those lower forces are able to possess a lot of musicians. Rap artists, a lot of rap artists, most of them, all of those guys are possessed, especially when you start seeing them put tattoos all over their body. You see the athletes do it. All of them are possessed with these lower spirit forces. All right, let's see. Hapshit Mod, a question. So we were Seraphin, not humans on Earth before the fall. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. We as Nagaru were Nathar. That's why we say we're the children of the Nathar. Basically, it's like, let's say you have children and you have a specific way of life and culture, and then you have your children. Your children gets caught up with another person's culture, starts hanging out with them, right? And then your children starts having children, and they teach them that new culture, and then their children starts having children, and they teach them that same new culture. Eventually, generationally, those children will forget the original culture. And that's what happened to us. And so they lost their abilities through mixing in and following other people's cultures. And that's how we got disconnected. But your ancestors are still connected to you on the other higher dimensions, and that's why the master teacher had to incarnate, to teach us how to reconnect. That's his whole job. That's his whole job. Hope that helps. Let's see. knowledge seeker, distractions, bad habits, bad foods, negative feelings, and thinking, stress, basically spiritual ignorance and the racial blindness is what keeps us spellbound and unaware about. Oh, so that's right. Those are facts. That's facts. Let's see. Except one part. I don't agree with it or just don't understand what you mean. Okay, T Tiger. It takes T Tiger that it takes some more knowledge. It's not about agreeing or disagreeing. It takes a lot more knowledge and studying to begin to understand, the concepts, spiritual concepts. It does take a while to begin to understand that. When I'm trying to teach you guys, it took the master years to get us to this level. And you guys are new to this. It's not something you're going to begin to comprehend overnight. It's going to take years, No, well, we don't have years, but if you're diligent and if you come at this with a sincere heart, right, and the power of love, then your mind will open up. It's really taking the time out to really study, do the rituals, and your mind will open up quick. But you have to come at this with a sincere heart. So it's not about agreeing or disagreeing. It's about raising one's level of intellect. And that's what I'm trying to do with the information. That's why the master teacher put out so many books to help raise your intellect. Let's see. I don't agree with. All right, T Tiger, because I think everyone would like to know what's going to happen when we die. I don't think it's the basics from the Egyptians' coffin text. Okay. Again, in order to know, this is T Tiger, in order to know when and how you transition, you have to develop yourself spiritually. For instance, I've explained numerous of times, the master teachers taught us numerous of times, you first have to do the spiritual work, the prayers, the meditation. You have to do those spiritual practices, and then you will gain more knowledge about that stuff. It takes about 3 months of consistency. I repeat, it takes about 3 months of consistency. Now, if someone doesn't discipline themselves to do it, then you'll never know. That's the point between religious people and what we're teaching. We teach facts, actual facts, things you must know, you must authenticate. Nothing I say you're here to believe. That gets us back into religions, dealing with belief systems. We're dealing with facts of existence. So we give you an assignment. If the person doesn't do the assignment, then they'll never have the knowledge. So everyone has to apply the knowledge in order to know, to authenticate the knowledge. This information is self-authentication. It's not about believing what someone says or teach or whatever, right? The master teacher's job is to educate us on what we should be doing and how to do it. Now that you know, okay, this is what you need to do spiritually, then you do those things to see if it's true or false. That is what a scientist is supposed to do. Do investigation, do research, okay? Do validation. That's very important, guys. Okay. So I hope that helps. Let's see. Knowledge seeker, we can connect to our oversoul by following instructions. AEL explain it all. That's right, guys. We had, guys, we have the master teacher put out so many books. And we have so much data on what things you need to do spiritually that will help you. So that's actual facts what knowledge seeker is saying. T Tiger, who instructs the master teacher is the one who instructs us. That's right, Padabab, And what are the instructions to what for what? Is that only spiritual God? Is that the only spiritual God? Yes, the master teacher is the only spiritual God on this planet in this day and time. It's all explained over AEO. Yeah, T Tiger, we have a lot of books on the subject. You know, a lot of that stuff people put on scribes. You can get access to. They put the there's a set of books called the Om, the Ancient Mystic Order of Melchizedek books that the master teacher put out. You can study those books. It's on scribes. They don't supposed to be there, but it's there. And so it's just about knowledge. That's all. Let's see. Hapsha said that's why they always want Nagato to donate blood. Yeah. If you miss, yeah, help me. Just kidding. Got this. Okay. Question: can you help me understand the instructions on how to not come back to this planet when we leave? Okay, T Tiger. Question: can you help me understand the instructions on how not to come back to this planet when we leave? Again, you know, I refer you to Tiger. You have to start reading the books. And I always recommend definitely watch the lectures. Take your time, study the lectures that we put out, listen to the master's classes that he has out. It's all, you know, they put so much about stuff on YouTube, you know. So take your time, you know, and remember, positive mind. At first, have to start with a positive mind and the power of a shock. That's step one. That's step one, guys. Let's see. T Tiger question: as a spiritual soul, are we still connected in our DNA to our ancestors that put us back into nine ether spirit? Yes, you're connected to all of your ancestors who exist on the higher dimensions. T Tiger, all black people on earth are connected to the what we call the Natharu, our ancestors on the higher abodes, you know. Like these beings right here, guys. That's why I like to show the picture of the where they at. The Mozaku, the Riskians. You know, these are the nine ether beings. We're connected to these beings. They monitor the omniverse. These are that's why they sent the master teacher. He's one of these beings, and they incarnated into the master teacher's body just for the purpose of teaching us. And you're connected to them, and you can do rituals to make contact with them. That's why the master teacher gave you their names. The master name is Yanun, and then you have the next one is Razun, and you have Zanun, the one in the middle, and then you have Zakun, the one on the end. So you have Yanun, Razun, Zanun, Zakun. You can actually chant and meditate on them, and that's you can those are some of the things you can do to have them incarnate to you. As you're chanting, you're raising your vibration. Of course, it takes time, but you can do it if you put your mind to it. Many people have done it. Research, you know, people who've done it. Many people have done it. You know, of course, using their spiritual science, but they've developed themselves spiritually. The Hindus do it. You know, all these yogis from the Hindus are doing it. The Tibetan monks are doing it. A lot of people have spiritual practices, and now you have your African science on how to make contact with your ancestors. Even the Mukasu is doing it. Okay, so you know, you have the ability. It takes patience, though. Let's see. Okay, but just quality question. Tell me what happens to the soul when we die and who sends it back? Who is controlling my soul? Okay. Uh Again, T Tiger, I rather you begin to get some of our books to read because that's not what happens. That's not what happens. This, again, like I said, this kind of will get into a more involved discussion trying to explain that. And I don't want to confuse anyone. Okay. So take your time, right? That's why I'm gonna keep telling you guys, you can't do spiritual work unless you're in a positive mind. You can't go into spirituality with fear. You can't go into spirituality with anxiety. You can't go into spiritual work with desire. Definitely without you can't do it. Any of that stuff with desire. You have to have a peace and calm mind. You have to be in harmony. You can't do it like the fear of dying and what's going. You have to get rid of all of that. That is six ether working through us, which is why the Caucasian, he brainwashed us to behave and think like we think, and that's through his movies and his music. They put us in those conditions in their culture where we're constantly in fear. That's what Christianity did. Fear God. Fear of making a sin. You're gonna burn in hell. You're gonna that's what they constantly did that to us. And so we're so out of tune spiritually. And so that's why so many of our people are afraid to even do spiritual work because of religion. That's why the first thing the master teacher had to teach us is the religious schools, something you guys didn't get. We call it the first 3 degrees. We had to become proficient in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And we actually lived those cultures so that the master put us through the schools of religion so that we can overcome the God concept. So I recommend that for you, my brother T Tiger. Start reading the book series we call the God concept, the God series or the Christ series. Okay, we have a bunch of books out where the master teacher is just dealing with the religious information, to answer a lot of questions from the Bible and the Quran, and it's dealing with a lot of spiritual stuff. So I highly recommend getting those books, and a lot of them are in scribes. They're called the Christ series. In fact, we got one gigantic book that the master put all of it in. These big 3 books, one called the Muhammadan series and one called the Christ series. They're like 1,000 pages each book. All right, so let's see. Question. Hapshasut. Can we just live on 9 NoopooH? Is that what you're trying to say? In the realm of NoopooH? I think. I can't answer that question. That I don't want to. That gets involved explaining that. If that's what you're trying to ask. Basically, once you resurrect, the life of the Nathar is almost no different than our life. It's just a lot more advanced, guys. The life of the Nathar is just a lot more advanced. Guys, it's similar to what you see on the ET movies, like Star Wars and the Avengers movies. The Nathar, they're traveling the multiverse, the omniverse. They're just very advanced beings, So that's a lot of the stuff they show in their movies is very similar to how these beings live. Let's see. T Tiger, well, they're dying in order to go home anyway. This is not where we're supposed to be. We are just passing through. Okay. Question. Can you help me understand the introduction on how to not come back to this plane when we leave? This is what the classes that we're teaching, right? All the videos, the lectures that we've done is to help all students, T-Tiger, everyone, on the steps to take. That's why I introduce you guys to the principles. You guys really need to take the time out to really try to comprehend these principles I talk about. Every time I do these discussions, you got to comprehend these principles. Okay. It takes time, guys. It takes time. It does. Again, I've been in this for decades, right? A lot of you guys are new. So it takes time. It took me years to get to this level. Now I'm giving you guys a fast track course, very fast track. So, there are things I'm teaching you guys I didn't learn until 20 years into this information. So there's a lot of things you guys are getting very quick. And honestly, I can't say if that's good or bad because I'm bypassing a lot of things you guys need to know. A lot of things. The problem is we're on a timeline. We're on a timeline, and I'll just say that and move on. Let's see. T-type question. As a spiritual soul, are we still connected to our DNA and ancestors that put us back into 90 spirit? Yes, I answered that. Yeah. Let's see, Zamal. What do zodiac? So this is Zamal talking. What do zodiac signs represent? The star constellation, right? And not the nature of humans, right? Yes, zodiacs is just different star constellations. Let's see. Zamal, Katrina survivor in the building. Oh, wow. Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. T-Ty, a question. What is the I'm spelling. I'm sure it's wrong. And is it part of our transcendent? Yeah, okay, that's just the dua is really Zupu. That was just with the Egyptians called it. The dua is Zupu. Because like the goal they was trying to get was the next dimensional cycle up, which is a four ether cycle. Because right now we're in a 3 ether cycle, so they was either trying to get to like a 4 ether cycle or a 5 ether cycle or a 6 ether cycle. Those are higher abodes. They're still in a dua. They're still in the underworld. That they talked about. Let's see. Akeem, so true in the New Orleans, and blacks did suffer the most. Yep. Okay, T-Tag said, where are you are missing and soaking it up. All right, yes, I'm honestly taking it all in. Get it. Let's see. Allison, quick question. Can you please answer the question I sent you in my email about my spiritual dreams being told in my dream I can breathe water and all in air? I told you when it comes to people's personal spiritual experiences, those are personal to the individual. No one can really explain what someone's spiritual experiences, especially in a dream state. Okay, because people go through many different things in dream states. They have many different experiences in dream states. What will happen as you begin to increase your spiritually, you will have more spiritual experiences. Now that I can tell you, as you increase your spiritual journey, right? And spiritually, that means your vibration is increasing, and you will have much more spiritual experiences, which is moving you closer to making contact with the Nathar. Because you have to keep raising your vibration by doing the spiritual rituals, studying the information, and being around positive energy, right? And all of those things is help raising you closer to those, the spiritual realm. So I hope that helps. But again, a person's spiritual experiences is personal. Please don't be paying people for any spiritual advice. Don't go to people for nothing like that. Do not listen to people. No one can do that. No one should be telling you about your own spiritual personal experience. The master teachers made that very clear to us. Those are very personal things to each individual. All right. All I'm T Tiger, honestly, all I'm concerned about is the sitting off this planet and not coming back. That's why we're all in T Tiger. That's why we're all in this doctrine, because we're trying to resurrect to the higher dimensions, But you have to be in the power of love. You have to be in a positive mind, and you have to do it for the right reasons. Meaning, you have to the only reason to go into the higher realms is because you want to become a Nathar so that you can assist in the mission. Because the Nathar's job is constantly fighting Leviathan. They're fighting Leviathan in all different dimensions. And so just like we're fighting Leviathan on this realm, then the Nathar is fighting Leviathan on other realms. And you become initiated with them. Then you become a part of a galactic family of life. As my brother, the young elder, talks about, you become, or I should say, a multiverse family of life, really. Because your ancestors, you get to travel the multiverse, the omniverses. And you first have to be educated. So once you resurrect, you are basically initiated into schools with the masters, where you're going to be personally trained by them, and then you'll be given a job. You literally have a job. So that's what we're all striving for, to get it to go into their realms. But you got to want to go for the right reasons. You have to want to go to serve, to help. It's not about escaping Earth. It's about not living the cultures here. It's about giving up the culture of Zupu for the culture of NoopooH. That's our goal. All right, Hapsha said, question. And Mukasu wanted to take my photo 2 years ago. I said no. Was she trying to do spell work? She said she wanted to look at my aura. Really? Okay, no, don't let nobody. She ain't nothing she could do to you guys. Listen, remember the Mukasu is only 3 ether. 3 ether, 6 ether. He's tied in the 6 ether because of the Hindu in his DNA. So the Mukasu is tied in the 6 ether. You're 9 ether. 9 ether versus 6 ethers is opposite. So we're like so much more powerful than them. The only reason why they have influence on us is because our spiritual ignorance. We don't know that. We don't know how powerful we are. And the Mukasu works day and night to make sure that we don't find out how powerful we are. He's afraid of us. Trust me. That's why he treats us the way he treats us. They can't affect you spiritually. Trust me. You stay in the non-mind, that our powers are just way too potent for them. No one can mess with a 9 ether being nowhere in the multiverse. Let's see. But no, when you're dead, it's only soul that leaves, not or physical body. So no, okay, T Tiger, you got to understand the difference between spirit and soul. What happens is your soul is your emotional force. It's an energy force. Your spirit, when your physical body die, people who lose their soul, you lose your soul and your spirit reincarnates back to the planet Earth, and you start again as a baby. Okay, so you have to keep your soul, which is your spirit. It's another energy part of yourself. All right, that guys, listen to I think I did like 2 discussions on what is spirit and what is soul. We did 2 lectures on that. Listen to those lectures again. Okay, listen to those lectures again. T Tiger, all of you guys. That's why I keep telling you, you have to study these lectures, these information, and get the books I recommend. Let's see. You just played the video where the master teacher got his 720 from the ether. No, no, that's not what the video said. The master teacher, no, he was born. Okay, Dr. York, okay, the spirit or his oversoul called Yananin, incarnated into the master when he was a baby. But his oversoul couldn't take over his body until he becomes mature. You have to be an adult, and your consciousness have to be at a certain level before you become one with your oversoul. In fact, the master teacher didn't even realize that his oversoul was a higher version of himself. He said he didn't come into that knowledge till he turned 40, which was in 1985, when he began to realize that his oversoul and himself is one and the same being. Okay, because your oversoul will appear to be like a distinct personality once you make contact with it. All right, but the master was born like that. The master is not a normal human. Okay, the master is almost a genetic experiment himself. The master, his parents were abducted. He tells this story. His mother was abducted, and the master's father was abducted. In fact, the masters chose his parents and made them come together. They set it all up. They abducted his parents, and they had to do genetic alterations on his parents when they abducted them, so that baby, when the parents made it, and his mother conceived a child, that those genetics were specifically prepared for their baby. And the oversoul Yanu incarnated into the child. So the master he's a different type of being. He's not a normal. He's not a normal being. That's the best way I can explain it. Because in order to have this kind of knowledge, your genetics have to be at a certain level. There's no way he could have been teaching the level of information he had with his genetics vibrating like the regular humans, because our genes are so weak right now, we can't process the knowledge. That's why the Caucasian keeps outthinking us. our genetics is messed up. Our resonancy, frequency. I haven't even done discussions on that. Your morphic genetic frequencies, your morphic resonance and your morphic genetic tones. That's a whole nother, set of classes you guys have to learn about. But you're just getting started, man. This takes time, guys. It takes time. You got to be very patient. This is not going to come overnight. Trust me. It takes time, but you can get it. But it takes time. You got to dedicate, some time, guys. At minimum 3 years. Minimum 3 years. Dedicate into really studying and developing yourself. You got to give yourself 3 years minimum. Okay. T-Tiger. Let's see where we at. You guys asked a lot of questions. I'm behind. I'm just going one at a time. Where we at? You guys are asking a lot of stuff. Where we at? The play. I don't think he's thinking about the email. I am. T-Tiger, I am thinking about the email. I'm aware. I did ask the question. I did answer in regards to Allison's email. Let's see. I don't think. Let's see. Beyonce got it. Just a question. T-Tiger question. People in Africa use drugs and tonics to connect to spirit. Even Indians. We do not. T-Tiger. We do not use drugs. We don't use anything like that to connect to your oversoul. Don't do that. Do not do that, because the reason why we don't do that is because you have to correct your whole genetics. Drugs ain't going to correct your genetics. That takes rituals, okay, to correct your genetics. That gets into a whole nother discussion, guys. Yeah, trust me. Do not listen to these other people and their spiritual science. Their spiritual science has nothing to do with us. The Hindu stuff. That's why Africa is messed up now, because they started following Hindus. Trust me. And now everyone's following the Mukasu's religions. And so if mess us up more and more. We do not follow none of the Hindu stuff. No Asian stuff, no Tibetan stuff, none of that crap. That has nothing to do with us. All right. Those people have a different morphic resonance than we do. That's why they have different spirit forces. Okay. Watch the video I did on the racism nature by nature. You guys have to understand the different spirit forces in the different races. That's what creates a race, is the different spirit forces. Different spirit force means it has a different morphic resonancy. Okay. So don't be messing with none of this stuff. All that ayahuasca stuff they talk about, don't mess with it. Let's see. Hapsha Sit, Tawat Zamal for this show. NoopooH, Tawat. That's what's up. I understand spiritual concepts very well. So you was wrong to say that. Okay, I'm not sure what I said wrong. So if I said something wrong, let me know. I don't know what I said. Let's see. Don't like when I open my third eye, will I be able to find my deceased relatives? It depends. Don't like. It depends on whether or not they was able to resurrect up, or whether or not they reincarnated. It all depends, but you are connected to your relatives. Some of them you will know that have resurrected, and some of them you won't know, but you're connected to them once you develop yourself spiritually. So don't like, you can make contact with them. You just have to do the rituals. The rituals are the same for everybody, guys. So that's important to know that. And let's see, don't like recommend all of the actual facts books. Yes, read all the actual fact books, guys. All of y'all, and the Master Secrets. You gotta study the information, guys. Let's see. You're very wise. I get T Tiger, you're very wise. I get that, but I see you answer to skip around a bit. T Tiger, I'm not. You gotta trust me, man. I've been doing this long enough. I know what I'm talking about. Trust me. I've been doing this long enough. I've dealt with many people. Many people. You know, I've been blessed to be personally taught by the master, to question the master, to trust me, man. The master is the wisest being on this planet. Okay. And so students like myself who've been taught by him, we're very fortunate. And I'm just conveying to you what he's taught us. So, you know, you're going to have to trust the master teacher. Just study, just keep studying. Trust me. You know, and if I said something incorrect, guys, just, you know, I'm not above making mistakes now. Just let me know. I'll correct anything if you think I said something incorrect. I have no problem with that. Let's see. Some of the books are on YouTube. That's right, guys. We have a YouTube channel called NoopooH. And they spell it NWPU, NoopooH, NWPU. It's a NoopooH, and it's one of us. It's one of the Sabian who runs that channel, and they put the books on audio, so you guys can listen to a lot of the books, okay, and a lot of just a lot of our stuff. T-Ty, I got it done, and I'm very positive. I told you I learned to kill my ego 2 years ago. Sorry, you feel a different way, and if no, you're not T-Ty, you're not irritated. You guys not irritate me. Y'all can't irritate me. I answer questions based on listening to statements that are coming. So nothing I said is meant to be disrespectful or anything. And when I'm saying being positive, I need to explain what positive and negative means. Positive means making decisions that move you to the realm of NoopooH, and negative is making decisions that keep you in the realm of ZuPoo. Okay. So when I'm saying being positive, that means staying focused on a certain train of thought or an objective in the realm of ZuPoo, and have to do it for certain reasons. There are certain reasons why we do spiritual work, and so I'm speaking in general, not specific, because I don't know you personally, T Tiger. I don't know you, so I can only give general responses. Because it's not just for you. When I'm answering questions for all listeners. Is so even though you guys are asking questions specifically about yourself, my answers are for everybody. They're not just for you. So it's important that you guys know that. Because even if you know it, keep in mind, a lot of people are listening don't know these things, and so they need to know. Let's see. Allison, you can talk to them and they will answer you back through yo. So that's right. I came 360-degree questions to ask a Christian is a good book. That's right. And Rahubat Musar, Phoenix, that's what's up. Rahubat. Okay, understood. Yes, I have lots of spiritual dreams, and I'm getting brain zaps. That's what's up, Allison. Just keep up the work, Allison. Those are just signs that you're moving closer, that you're or anyone who has spiritual experiences, those are signs that your vibration is moving higher. You just have to, just stay with it, right? Do the rituals that I say. Do the rituals that are very important, guys, and you'll move at it. You'll move higher and higher. When you start incorporating all of the different things I talk about, the fasting and the diet and the chanting, guys, chanting, that's one of the quickest ways to increase your morphic resonance is chanting. That's why I try to introduce you guys to chanting when I do that. Okay. In fact, when I'm into today's class, I'm gonna introduce you guys to a new prayer system, right? A prayer system that you guys need to know. And I sent this to you, Allison, so that you can go over it, because those are some powerful prayers that I sent you. And it's in this book right here that we put out called Pa Balag M Yananan, the message of Yanun. These are prayers and information that came directly from the master, from the Natharu to the master to us. The Natharu, because they're communicating with him, and so they're telling him what to tell us until we learn how to make contact with them ourselves. That's our goal, guys. And so they set up these prayer systems. The Natharu told him to tell us to say these things, All right, so let's see. Zamal, when will get updated info on the master teacher's case? Yeah, that's a good question. Zamal, they do have updates. They just had one. I was on a conference call about a week ago. And so they do have conference calls on it. So, I have to get you a point of contact, though, to get more information about that. But that's a good question. All right, Allison. let's see. I'm seeing numbers. When I see these numbers, I'm led to speak to the all expanded and speak my affirmations. I feel this is a spiritual connection, and yeah, it might be, Allison. One of the things is just visualize. One of the things we do teach is visualize the masters, the Nathar. Like we have females that we draw pictures of, that you can visualize and call on, like Aset and Nababtat. These are Nezdaret. These are female Nezdarets that you guys, the black females, connected to all of these female Nezdaret, right? You guys are connected to them, and if you visualize them, and if you call on them, you'll create a spiritual link to them, and they'll make contact with you as your vibration increases. So I do say that, have, meaning when you're doing spiritual work, we always try to have like a specific goal of who we want to talk to. And so that, and we put our mind on those beings. That's why I give you the images of the Mozaku, the Riskians. You can actually literally visualize them and talk to them, and you'll create a spiritual link to them. They'll hear you, right? You won't hear them until you raise your vibration, because you'll hear them. They'll try to talk to you back. You just have to raise up your vibration high enough to hear the responses. Okay. Let's see the channel. Rahubat, what's up? Barbados in the house. That's what's up. Rahubat. And we need to read, study. That's right. TTT. That's right. When we read the books, we should hear the voice of the master to speak to our souls. That's what's up. That's what's up. Read. That's what's up. I think, Tita, as I can feel the energy, whether it's positive or negative, it's all depends on how you're receiving it. Well, back. What's up? Thanks, you all the time. You made me feel like I'm asking ignorant questions when they are just No, I'm not. T-Tiger, don't take me the wrong way. Don't take me the wrong way. Don't take me the wrong way, guys. It's just the way I do. It's not how I talk is not personal to no one individual. So I communicate with most people. I don't want anyone to understand. But that's why we have to get to know one another. Then you'll understand as we become closer and closer as family, then like when your brother is saying certain things to you, he loves you no matter how he comes at you, and that's how you have to see it. Because, I love you guys all. I'm here to help y'all. That's why I'm dedicating all my time and energy. My goal is to help you guys succeed. My goal is to help you guys achieve what you guys are trying to achieve. You guys are seekers like myself, and the master helped me, and my job is I'm obligated to help you guys. I do this because, I kind of have no choice. And this is all I think about. There's nothing else I can do. I dedicated my whole life to teaching, trying to help, so do not take offense to me, guys. Trust me, don't. But it's about that time. We overtime, and guys, remember we do prayer systems at 9 a.m., 3 p.m., 9 p.m. that we missed, and 3 a.m. for those who could wake up at that time. So we're gonna wrap it up because we're way over. We're gonna wrap it up, and so I'm gonna end it with prayers from this book called Pa Balag Yanun, and then we will see you guys next week. Right? We'll see you guys next week. And we will start on a next series of books that we're going to get into the Bible interpretations and explanations. So we're going to talk about the Bible. Bible origins is the class is going to be about the Bible origins, guys. So that'll give more clarity to the Adam and Eve stories as we get into that. All right, so we're going to start with namaz. Prayer system is called namaz. Abdul Kalam namasat wubazu namad kasam fa pa ut. Panin safa kawun. This book is Pa Sawa Wu Pa Tarak, the truth and the way. Z Kawuna Nazula Laha Enkum. It was sent down for you all. Manaz Sabat Wu-Sabat. From Sabat Wu-Sabat, star constellation. Amah Hadei En Shafe'un, as a guidance and healing. Maneh Salafu Wu Nataru, from your ancestors and overseers. Aju Layad Nafasukum, return to your own. Afuk Shane Kawun Kuma, accept what is yours. Pa Sawa Wu Pa Tarak, the truth and the way. And Nun Tawo Enkum, we thank you all. Lahab Panan Shafe Un Wu Alaj, for this healing and cure. And Nun Tawa Enkum Lahab Nasuinun, we thank you all for not forgetting us. And Nun Tawa Enkum Lahab Ashuk, we thank you all for divine love. Enkum at the Salafunun, you are our ancestors. Enun at the Khara'ukum, we are your children. Enun Talub Nasar Kuma, we seek your help. Enun Talub Nasar Kuma, we seek your help. En Sonun Sayim Nataru, help us, divine overseers. En Sonun Salafunun, help us, our ancestors. Enun at the Munwapu, we are the Nawapians. Anun Atun Atun Amun Yeu Munwapu Enun Laduda Enkum Mana Mukwenun Ama Munta'u Faya Pafaf Enkum Kador Anuk Bi Khabat Wu Ma'at. O Nuwapians, we birthed you all from our being as Muntaru, so that you all can live by way of peace and justice. Ama Kharat Unun Faya Aju Layanun, as our children, so return towards us. Ameh wahu yasa wu adu muslafu kum panen kawun pa saheh tarak lahe enkum, as one family, and call your ancestors. This is the right way for you all. Wu enun ata pa nataru wu enun ata shawuf jaya enkum jaya kala wakut at, and we are pa nataru, and we are looking at you all times. Kare ashuk wu azkor munwapu enun khator enkum ama kharat unun wu enun rasula enkum muhdekum kare pa saheh tarak lake raju layenun. With divine love, and remember, Nawapu, we choose you as our children, and we sent you all your guide with the right way in order to return toward us. Butim raghub enhu awashanu enhu kawuna rasula lake amul laha enkum nagad na'u. Do not reject him or what he was sent to do, for you are nagaru. Enkum kawuna pa wahan tapal salal shalil takyui kawan pa nahe. You all were the first world race of creation and will be the last. Laha kalah yakha'u hayaz zabula wahu bi wahu. When all others have faded one by one, Alash enthum faula tem wafuk munzar ohum laha wah salal kawuna rasulla enthum munzar or wuhasut entkum anudkum munzar onun kare nazar kuma fayabutem raghub shanu ennu nazul laha entkum nagad na'u Enunata Ashuk, Enun Buten Waud, Enkum Kare Nara at, Azab at, Awe Chabad at, Ame Pa Mudaku. Because they did not accept their warner, for each race was sent their own warners, and now you all have yours, our own warner with you all warning. So do not reject what we sent down for you all, Nagaru. We are divine love. We do not threaten you with fear, tortures, or sufferings as the Anaku, the Anunnaki. Enun butem shayul, enkum lahe khawufnun, awe ja'ul, enkum khator, waho afefnun. We do not ask you all to fear us or make you all choose one of us. Kadeh ama enkum ashuk. Mudad tatkum wu mudadkum fayel laneh ennun shayul enkum laha ashuk nun. Just as you all love your mother and father, so also we ask you to love us. Ama ennun ashuk enkum butem haya bi khawaf shalal mawat ennun shawal kabul. And kumbutem khawuf. As we love you all, you do not live by way of fear of death. We will receive you all. Do not fear. Pa munwat u enthum haye karenun bi khabat Wu-Sabat naut nahe lahe pa baad wahi pa khatat aye khayor laye afar. The dead ones, they live with us by way of peace and happiness, no end for the soul, only the body which transforms towards dust. Laka chazui pa taha, in order to feed the earth. Wu pa ba raju layenu, and the soul returns towards us. Panen kawun tarak kuma. This is you all's own way. Faya aju laya muslafu kum bi wunwa muslafu kum tara. So return to your own ancestors by way of wunwa, your ancestors' way. Faya az ko enu nata pa ashuk wu enu ashuk en kum kharad unun. So remember, we are divine love and we love you all, our children. Enkum ata muntaru kharatu impa nataru. You all are muntaru, children of nataru, overseers. Pa'ut kawun. Jedna 4. Okay, guys, that is it till next week. We will definitely pick up. Again, like I said always, I love you all. Do not take offense to anything that I said. I say everything in good, in peace and love, and we're gonna make it together. We definitely are gonna make it together, and we're all in this together, and things will be all right. I'm just gonna end it with some music, and then I'll see you next week.
If I grab every color here and mix it in a bowl, which would be inclusive of green, I come up with black. That's why you've been trained to see black as a color. You've been trained to see black as a color because they've also given you a definition of black, which is swarthy and bad and ugly and evil and Dracula. And you know what I'm saying? That's a psychological profiling that they've done to monotype, a stereotype, they make me and you into one kind of character, bad. They call us stereotypes. Stereo is true. We are stereo beings, God and man, not mono beings. But they have the whole world thinking all black people liars, thieves, crooks, etc., etc., etc. All that is shaded around identifying black as a color and not as a state of existence. On which colors are born. Because blackness is there. Now, whether stars are shining or not, blackness is there. Regardless of the colors of the stars, white stars, red stars, green stars, blue stars, depending on their illumination qualities and what reflects off them, the blackness will remain. When you cut the lights on in the room, the blackness remains. When you cut the light off in the room, the energy is still in the room unless you go downstairs and throw the fuse box. So the energy of the light is in the room, but the black won't allow it to shine until you turn on a certain